Hi, what's up guys? My name is Alan. Welcome to another episode of Thoughts on This, where I speak out my thoughts on certain things, and in this case, movies. And today, I'll be giving my thoughts on a film that I've already given my pre-thoughts on if you've seen my last video, and if you haven't, I'm talking about Disney's newest live-action reimagining of The Little Mermaid, which I did in fact see a month ago. So I've actually seen this film twice in theaters already, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was very fun to watch, but I wouldn't say it's the greatest Disney live-action remake of all, but I still enjoyed the film, and there were some things that could have been better. The ocean environment was pretty to look at, but at the same time, it looked flat compared to the animated version. King Triton's castle, for example, which is basically a bunch of rock towers combined. I really wish it stuck closer to the original version where it is literally a castle instead of this cheap rockwork, because what I'm seeing from this doesn't really look like a castle of an underwater kingdom to me. It's just too realistic, and I think they could have done a little more with that. Especially the under the sea sequence, which was fun to watch, and I think the V-digs with Halle Bailey were great. However, I wish it was a little cartoony, and what I mean by that is that the original, they had other sea creatures singing along and playing instruments. The new version does have some sea creatures dancing, which is fun, but most of them feel like moving inanimate objects, and I would have loved to see some of the creatures from the animated version adapted into this version, because it would add more life to the sea environment instead of being realistic. And I still stand with Flounder looking the most lifeless out of the animal characters. Sebastian and Scuttle, they're fine, but Flounder, they could have done a way better job with his appearance. He looks bland. If they added more facial features to complement his personality and more color to him, he would have been more of a standout. And I also stand by what I said about the ocean needing vibrancy in some parts where the colors did look a little washed out. I am a little disappointed because this is the same guy that directed Mary Poppins Returns, and I've seen what he's done with that film where he brought these bright, vibrant, immersive and fantastical worlds to life, and I wish he translated some of that into this film. It was still eye-catching, but they could have added something to really make it look like an immersive underwater world. The land environment, on the other hand, looks more bright and full of life. Something about the land feels exciting, from the sights, sceneries in the marketplace and the beaches along the shore. It looks like a place that you want to explore and go sightseeing. The performances from the cast definitely brought a light and energy into the film, and I loved everyone in that cast, including the ones that have a significantly small role, like Noma Dumaswini as Queen Selena, Art Malik as Sir Grimsby, and all 6 actresses playing Ariel's sisters. Jessica Alexander, who also has a small role, was a blend of beauty and wickedness as Ursula's human alter ego Vanessa, and despite her small role, she really knocked it out of the park as being this conniving and deceiving person who gets what she wants. And Jacob Tremblay complemented Flounder's personality to a T despite his lackluster appearance. Awkwafina brought a fresh and humorous spin on Scuttle while also paying respect to the late Buddy Hackett. Even though it would have been nice if Scuttle was played by a different actor, I'm still happy with what Awkwafina did. Javier Bardem's King Triton takes on this more mellow approach, kind of like this Dark Lord, if that makes sense, and it suits well with his character. David Diggs was charismatic when bringing Sebastian to life, and his musical talents helped pay homage to Samuel E. Wright. Jonah Hauer-King did an amazing job with Prince Eric. He has an incredible voice, and he looks like the ideal Disney prince. 2 of the biggest standouts of the film were, no surprise, Melissa McCarthy as Ursula and Halle Bailey as Ariel. Melissa's performance was absolutely outstanding, and her take on Poor Unfortunate Souls was very well executed. She kept true to Pat Carroll's portrayal while also putting her own little spin without trying to incorporate so much of her comedic style of acting. The fact that she didn't try to be too comedic is proof that she understood the assignment, and every scene that she was in shows it. Halle Bailey's portrayal of Ariel was, without question, phenomenal. She is Ariel, not only for that beautiful voice that she brought into part of your world, but her acting as well. We can really sympathize with the character, especially in her quiet moments. Everything about Ariel, which is this curious, innocent, adventurous spirit, she embodied all of that. And it's not common for an actor in these live action remakes that can embody the character and have the right singing voice for it, and Halle has both. She's able to manifest the personality of the character and have the singing voice to match up to the original. And I think Jodie Benson is proud of how Halle brought her iconic character to life. Now, turning my attention to the music, you get all of the Howard Ashman and Alan Menken songs, like all your favorite classics, except for Daughters of Triton and Le Poisson, which also led to the character Chef Louis being cut. It is a little upsetting that they didn't make it, but the new songs, however, do make up for them, and honestly, I enjoyed the new songs. Wild Uncharted Waters is a great song for Eric. It fits perfectly with his character, and I love Jonah Howard King's voice in this. It's one of those songs that makes you feel moved by its message. I like how it's two different songs, like combined into one. Like it's kind of like Eric's love song to Ariel, and at the same time, it's part of your world but reverse. Like in the sense that it's also his I Want song. Like the fact that he's interested in exploring beyond the shores and Ariel's into exploring life on land just adds another layer to their character development and builds on their chemistry where they both have this adventure spirit of wanting to explore the world, and I think it's a great way to amp up the romance between them. For the first time, it's probably the best out of the three new additions. Like, I get this Broadway musical vibe from it, and Halle nailed it with the song. It gives a real insight on what's going on in Ariel's mind when she is having the experience of being on land, quote unquote, for the first time, which fits the story perfectly and pushes the plot forward. Scuttlebutt is where you get Lin-Manuel Miranda's signature style and is personally one of my favorites. Like, it doesn't really add too much to the plot, but it was still a fun song to listen to. Plus, it was nice to have Awkwafina rap, which is something any of us wouldn't have thought of hearing since she's done so much acting the past few years and hasn't rapped in a while, so it was refreshing to have her rap again and have fun with it. Her and David Diggs were amazing in the song, like they sounded like they were having a blast, and also in Kiss the Girl with Jacob Tremblay. I love how in this version all three of them were involved, but it would have been nice to have some of the other lagoon animals involved as well, like in the original version, but other than that, you still get the romantic feels from the original, which is mesmerizing to watch. And now that I think about it, it would have been kind of distracting to have some of the other animals involved. It would have taken the attention away from Ariel and Eric, which would ruin the romance, and technically they were kind of involved, like they didn't play as big of a role in the number like they did in the original, and they were more like nods to it, but still, they were involved, and at this point I'm eating my words, so let's move on. The new details in this version didn't bother me that much, and I do think that some of them work, like such as the fact that King Triton's wife was killed by humans. Like, it makes total sense as to why he's against humans in the first place. And I also like that there's this prejudice not only towards the land, but towards the sea, like where each side has this like one-sided judgment about each other and they don't see eye to eye. And I think that raises the stakes on Eric and Ariel's wants and needs and their relationship. I also like in this version, Ursula is actually related to King Triton, which was an abandoned concept from the animated film and brought into the Broadway version. Like, I think it fits with the tension between the two, and it adds another reason why Ursula has it out for King Triton in the first place and why she wants to take over the ocean. And of course, kind of like what I mentioned before, the new details about Eric and Ariel adds to the chemistry and fuels the romance further. Also, the one thing that this film did way better on, in my opinion, was the ending. Like, what makes it better is that it resolves the misunderstanding between the two worlds, like the land and the ocean, where both sides are now united and have this mutual understanding towards each other. While the new ending doesn't involve a huge wedding celebration, it does have Ariel and Eric going off to see the world together while having the support of their families and everyone else from both land and sea. The score for this ending was excellent. Like, I think Alan Menken did a great job with it. I just love how it's a nod to the title opening of the original, and I think it adds that nostalgic feel from the original to this film. Overall, the film as a whole was spectacular. Like, most of the magic that you love from the original was kept, and the new elements added something refreshing to the storyline while also paying respect to its source material. It had its minor flaws, but I still consider it one of the live action films that are actually good, and I would definitely recommend someone watching this film if they haven't seen it yet. Alright, that sums up all of my final thoughts I have for this film, and if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe, it would really mean a lot. And that's all I have to say, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!